All right, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever nationwide 3-minute thesis competition right here at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. My name is Ian, and I'll be your MC for today. Okay, can I just first say, I hope NTU wasn't too far for you to travel all the way here. It's a little bit far, I know, but thank you all for coming today. Okay. Today, we are going to be hearing some very fascinating research studies conducted by our finalists, okay? And they are all going to be done in a very, very unique way. As the name of the competition suggests, 3-minute thesis competition, they will only be given 3 minutes to present their research ideas, okay? So the information is condensed, yet simplified for everybody here who is a non-specific but intelligent audience, okay? So, a little bit about the 3-minute competition. It first started in the University of Queensland in 2008, and subsequently in 2009 and 2010, this concept was promoted to more Australian and New Zealand universities. Okay, and due to its growing popularity, eventually the Trans-Tasman 3MT competition was started in 2010 in the University of Queensland. Okay, and then subsequently in 2011, this concept became even more popular overseas, and now the 3MT competition is conducted in over 600 universities in 59 countries outside of Australia. And here in Singapore, NTU started its first competition in 2013, and recently we just concluded our 5th edition on 21st July. Similarly, NUS just concluded its 3rd edition, SMU with its 2nd edition, and SUTD with just their first ever 3MT competition. Okay, and today participants from all 4 universities are gathered here today to battle it out in the first ever nationwide 3MT competition. Okay, with that being said, let us take a look at a video of the 3MT Singapore journey. Okay, so 3MT Singapore is proudly organized by the NTU Graduate Student Council, supported by Global Dialogue at NTU, the Division of Teaching, Learning and Pedagogy, as well as Student Affairs Office and NTU Libraries. And our prizes for today are kindly sponsored by Springer Nature. Now, before I proceed on, I'd like to invite Ms. Tan Siok San, the Director of Student Affairs Office, up on stage to give a welcome speech. Ms. Tan, please.
Thank you, Yen. Dear esteemed guests, Dr. Chen Zhixiong of NUS, Dr. Kristen Sattler of NTU, Professor Robert Deng of SMU, and Professor Ricky Ang of SUTD, and as well as Dr. Tony Bouquet of Springer Nature. Colleagues, friends, students from all the 4 universities, NUS, NTU, SMU, and SUTD, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of NTU, a very warm welcome and congratulations for finding your way to our campus here in the Wild Wild West. I'm both pleased as well as excited that we are all here today to witness history in the making. This will be the very first time that 3MT is held at the national level, and the winner will be representing Singapore in Australia in September next month. Right? Now, this show belongs to our graduate students, so I shall not hog the limelight and say too long, but our MC Yen, he will later bring you through the proceedings for today as well as share with you some fun elements that the students have injected into the program today. But since I'm standing here, I do want to take the opportunity to say thank you to a few groups of people who are really important, without whom this event would not have been possible. First of all the participants, as well as the faculty judges who have spent hours and hours condensing your research-focused research thesis into 3 minutes, all right? And the many, many judging sessions that have resulted in the 20 finalists that we are going to see today. And secondly, all of you here who have supported your friends and students in the background, urging them on. Although not all of them have made it to the finals, I'm sure they have benefited from this very meaningful journey. And thirdly, I would like to thank a very special group of student organizers from the NTU Graduate Student Council, and also all the student leaders as well as staff from the 3 universities who have been working tirelessly in the back end to make sure that this event can proceed successfully. And special mention to my 2 student leaders. Bagi, where are you? Can I see you? Where is Bagi? Oh, Bagi, yep. Bagi as well as Tusha. Tusha, okay. Can we thank them for being the lead in making this possible? They are the academic directors of the Graduate Student Council. And lastly, I would like to congratulate our 20 finalists who will share with us in 3 minutes today their research focus area, and well done for having come so far, and all the best. Right. So now sit back, relax. In the next 2 hours, we will have some fun watching them put on a good show. But before I hand the mic over to MC, I would like to invite Professor Kok Kian Woon, Associate Professor, Associate Provost of Student Life of NTU, to say a few quick words. Prof. Kok, please.
Thank you, and welcome to NTU. How many minutes do I have? Okay, the clock is ticking. Distinguished guests, judges, students, let's have some idea who's in this room. Who are from that very famous university in Clementi, NUS? Please stand up. Come on, don't be shy. We like to acknowledge your presence. Give them a big hand. Okay, good. Thank you, thank you. And we have a university downtown, SMU. Where are you? Come on, yeah. Good. Good. And some people traveled all the way from the other end of the island, Changi. SUTD, where are you guys? Very good, yeah. So as you can see, we are kind of apologetic, for being so far away, did you bring your passport? Because after this, we can hop over next door. Okay. I'd like to, first of all, in addition to all the thanks, just not to repeat the thanks, but to say how happy we are at NTU. On behalf of the president, the provost, the senior management, we are very, very proud to host this and to work with all of you to make this little project of ours a success. Now, this is a lesson actually in student life, which is nothing can be done, nothing can be initiated without ideas, without enthusiasm, without teamwork and leadership and so on. So I think that's really one of the big lessons for me. I like to say that it's quite significant that 3MT was born in Queensland, in Australia, and it so happened that this was brought to our attention by one of our colleagues, and of course, she was Australian, or she still is Australian, and that's Kristen Sattler. Kristen, please stand up, yeah. So she's been sort of dedicating herself, among other things, to making sure that we work with our graduate students very closely, and they have taken up the initiative and work very independently, and we are very pleased with that. Now, I'd just like to say something about graduate students, because those of us who are professors, I guess you can say we are lifelong graduate students. We've never really graduated. Now, you know the hallmarks of graduate students, right? Graduate students must be willing to suffer poverty, hunger, homelessness, sleeplessness, and so on, right? Do we all agree? Yeah? But it is also important for graduate students to be able to share their ideas with not just their own peers and their own professors who are speaking the same language. This is a great skill, not just for anybody and everybody, but for graduate students, because in some years from now, you will be the leaders in research, in academia, you will face big groups, you will have to share your ideas, and very important nowadays, we are talking about science communication and also communicating with publics and not just writing for the small group of people in a peer-reviewed journal, right? It's really also helping citizens and others in the world understand what we are about and what kind of contributions we can make. And somebody once said that there was some survey in America where about the top things to fear. Number 1 is death. Number 2 is public speaking. Right? So, many of you are very brave in having gone through the successive rounds and have made it here, and today we are at the finale. So, I just want to say once again that this could not be possible without all your enthusiasm, your passion, and your hard work and your teamwork. Now, I understand that now that we have test-bedded in NTU, this first national round, I guess another university in Singapore might be offering to do the next one, right? So, at the end of today, a few of us will gather together and we will do scissors, paper, stone. Right? Or has NUS volunteered? Okay. In any case, this is something we will work out, but whatever happens, I'd like to assure you that our Graduate Students' Council and NTU management will support 3MT in Singapore. You can be sure that we will be there, and we are very happy to share our experience. Let's give a big round of applause to everybody who has helped out. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kwok and Ms. Tan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so as we have mentioned, this is the first ever nationwide competition, and the winner from today's competition will be sent to Australia to represent Singapore in 3MC Asia Pacific on the 29th of September 2017, okay? All right, for the audience members here, fret not. Today, we will be also giving out some very attractive prizes, and all you need to do to stand a chance to win is to make sure, firstly, your Facebook and Instagram profiles are public, okay, and post anything, okay, with the hashtag 3MTSG, as seen on the screen, okay? During certain intervals later on, we will be giving out these prizes, okay? So you can start thinking of what you might want to post in just a bit, okay? Now, moving on to our judging panel. We most definitely can't have a competition without our judges. So, for the competition today, our honorable judges are, firstly, Dr. Chen Zhixiong, Assistant Dean of Students, Office of Student Affairs from NUS. Let's give him a round of applause. Secondly, Dr. Kristen Sadler, Research Director at NTU. Let's give her a round of applause. Next, Professor Robert Ding, Dean, Postgraduate Research Programs, Office of Postgraduate Research Programs at SMU. Let's give him a round of applause. Next, Professor Ricky Ng Ting Fong Professor for SUTD, ZJU, IDEA, and the Director of Graduate Studies at SUTD. Let's give him a round of applause. Last but not least, Dr. Tony Bouquet, Vice President of Sales, Japan, India, Southeast Asia, and Oceania, and the Managing Director, Nature Japan KK, Springer Japan KK from Springer Nature. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, judges, thank you for taking precious time off your schedule to be with us here today. Now, with every competition, there must also be some rules, okay? So let's take a look at the rules for today's competition. It is shown on the screen behind me, but just to highlight a few of the rules, each participant will be only given 3 minutes to present. If they exceed the time limit, unfortunately, they will be disqualified, okay? Participants are not allowed to have any props during your presentation, and more importantly, you are not allowed to rap, use poetry, or any songs, okay? And lastly, the decision of the judging panel will be final. Okay, so what exactly are the judging criteria for today? Participants will be judged on these 4 points. Firstly, comprehension, whether they are able to describe their research, key events, and outcome. Secondly, content delivery, whether they are able to deliver sufficient research without using technical jargon, okay? Next, engagement, whether they are able to drive enthusiasm amongst our audience members. And lastly, communication, their posture, body language, eye contact, etc. Okay? Each participant will be scored on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of these parameters, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So now, what are the prizes up for grabs today? Today's winner will walk away with 2,000 euros. On top of that, the ability to represent Singapore in 3MC Asia Pacific. So that's quite a good deal, right? Now, first runner-up walks away with 500 Singapore dollars. Second runner-up, 400 Singapore dollars. And the People's Choice Award winner will walk away with 300 Singapore dollars. And of course, all these prizes are sponsored by Springer Nature. Now, as for the People's Choice Award, I will only be telling you the voting procedure after all of the presentations conclude. So keep in mind who you want to vote as your favorite contestant till the end of the competition, all right? And now, here we have the list of the 20 participants in the order that they'll be caught, starting from top left, going down, and moving from the column on the left all the way to the column on the right. Okay, participants, please remember your order, as this is the order that you will be presenting in. Okay, so now we are ready to kickstart today's competition. And before we begin, let me brief you on how this is going to work. I will be introducing you to our contestants one by one, as shown on the slide previously. As they walk up on stage, give them a warm round of applause. They'll then be given 3 minutes to present, after which, when they conclude, please give them one more round of applause. After everybody has gone through their presentations, the judges will begin deliberating for the winner, and we will begin voting for People's Choice Award. Now, I hope you guys are ready for today's competition to be wowed by their presentations, because I know I am. So are you guys ready? All right, so before we proceed, may I request everybody to turn off your electronic gadgets to silent or switch it off so that there'll be no disturbances. Additionally, please refrain from walking in and out of the lecture theater while presentations are ongoing. Okay, so our first finalist for today is Mr. Andrew Le, and he'll be speaking on dealing with l'embarras du choix, choice paralysis when shopping online. I hope I pronounced the French words correctly. If not, please forgive me. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome Andrew.
3 years ago, I just bought a new iPhone. And 1 week after that, on the way to my morning class, I saw a beautiful girl. She smiled at me, and guess what? I dropped my phone. The phone was okay, but I realized that it is time to buy a case for my phone if I want to continue looking at beauty fingers. So I went back home, logged in Amazon.com, and searched for iPhone case. For a moment, I was stunned. The search for iPhone case turned up nearly 100,000 results. I asked myself disappointedly, how could I manage to seize all of these options? My reaction is what the French describes as having l'embarras du choix, meaning so many things to choose from. It is impossible for consumers to navigate through all possible choices when they are shopping online. In my research, I have been developing algorithms that help consumers avoid suffering from l'embarras du choix by showing them a small number of items that they are likely to buy. Empirical results show that the algorithm can achieve 80% accuracy in recommending items to consumers. The fascinating thing is, it helps websites like Amazon provide personalized shopping experience for every consumer. It is as if you walk into a store and the shelves start rearranging themselves, with what you might want is moved to the front, and what you are unlikely to buy is sent to the back. Amazing? Well, that is not all. The algorithm I developed can also make recommendations in real time. And real time is a real deal. Many case studies have shown that 57% of online shoppers would abandon a website after waiting for 3 seconds to load. Amazon itself calculated that 1 second of slowing down costed $1.6 billion in sales a year. My research exploits the so-called indexing data structures that could speed up speeding process 50 times faster. Finally, yet importantly, the framework I developed is also versatile and can be applied to more than just online retail, like recommending videos on YouTube, movies on Netflix, and even social relations on Facebook. It makes l'embarras du choix a thing of the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, judges, please take some time to fill up the score sheet for Andrew. In the meantime, I think all of us, we do suffer from choice paralysis, right? I think in this time and era, we do a little bit too much online shopping. So this is something that's really relatable. And if I told my mom this, she'll tell me to stop online shopping instead. Okay. Okay, our second finalist for today is Ms. Shilpa Madan, and she'll be speaking on the secrets of happiness, a more fulfilling life. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Shilpa.
Hello. We all want to be happy. Arguably, no other pursuit in life commands such consensus. A simple Google search on how to be happy yields over 250 million results. The internet abounds with wisdom on how to be happier, faster, longer, better, forever. And why not? Extant research shows that happier people are healthier, better at relationships, more creative, make more money, and even live longer. Even economists believe that happiness is the best indicator of a society's health. While conventional wisdom may say money can't buy you happiness, my research looks at the ways to get the biggest bang of happiness for the limited buck. Over 1,800 participants across UK, US, India, and Singapore participated in 20 experimental studies leveraging a host of psychological insights and techniques to replicate the findings that the first principle of using money to increase your happiness is to spend it on experiences and not things. In other words, doing stuff such as going to the movies, attending a concert, eating dinner out, make us a lot more happy than buying new shoes, new clothes, new smartphone. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Well, my research reveals the underlying reason for this experiential advantage. Experiences help us discover our purpose and passions in life. Only by trying out new stuff do we discover our love for travel, our cooking skills, the gift for learning a new instrument or a new language. Experiences, whether they're small ones, like trying out a new hawker stall for dinner tonight, or big ones, like participating in the 3-minute thesis, help us grow and evolve as individuals. They become tools for self-growth, thereby helping us fulfill that deep-seated desire for achieving one's potential. Hence, my research has implications not only for every single one of us wanting to live a life of growth and fulfillment, but also for businesses on the importance of paid vacation leave, for governments, for building and maintaining public entertainment spaces, for a happier, more fulfilled, more evolved society. The question that then remains is this recommendation universal? I'm now working with a small but extremely challenging set of people who do not believe in self-growth. Psychologists call this as having a fixed mindset, and as a result, love their possessions a lot more than they love their experiences. I'm now trying to subtly nudge such individuals into opting for experiences that are good for them in the long run, such as hitting the gym regularly or maybe even running a marathon. Despite living in a world of unparalleled abundance, happiness remains elusive. In case you could do with a little bit of a boost in that department, next time consider going for a short holiday rather than buying that new smartphone. Your well-being will thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shilpa. Judges, please take some time to fill up the score sheet. Now, I was looking on Google for how to be happier quickly, and I found that you could actually do that by a change of your diet. Consume more nuts, chicken, milk. They contain tryptophan, and they will be able to calm you down and make you happier. Quick tip for that, okay? All right, next up, we have Mr. Subramania Gautam, and he'll be speaking on stopping a global killer, malaria, through early diagnosis and treatment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Gautam.
Scoring is done. Scoring is done. Scoring is done. A century-old infectious disease troubling humans through the painful bite of mosquitoes is malaria. Nearly half of the world's population is at risk, killing more than 500,000 deaths every single year. When you visit Africa, you could see large chunk of people queuing up, more than thousands of them, waiting for them to get it diagnosed whether they have malaria or not. At times, it takes more than weeks or sometimes months for them to know whether they are infected or not. Probably, by the end of the time they know whether they have the disease, either they might die, or sometimes they are wrongly exploited with the wrong type of drugs. To prevent all these problems, we have designed a low-cost, portable, image-based microscope wherein the patient's blood is collected. It is immersed in a solution that specifically stains the malaria parasite. So once the malaria parasite is particularly stained, the microscope automatically counts the number of infection, and then in the screen it will be displayed how severe the disease, what's the type of disease being infected with, and what sort of medication it should be given. Right now, we are in the state of clinical trials, getting the patient samples from Southeast Asia and the African regions to troubleshoot this device. The recent World Health Organization report states that in every 2 minutes, a child dies from malaria. Introduction of these kind of microscope would definitely pave a way towards reducing the number and then preventing this disease completely. You might ask a question, why are we doing malaria research in Singapore, considering Singapore is a developed nation? Though we have well-developed techniques to diagnose malaria at the early stage, due to the influx of large foreign workforce and travelers across the neighboring regions which have a high incidence of malaria, makes Singapore vulnerable to this infection. So we are in the state of introducing the machines which are ready to diagnose the infection at a much early stage, considering the onset of new diseases due to mosquitoes such as dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, and also including malaria. Malaria is not yet over, but soon it will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam. Judges, please take some time to fill up your score sheet. And here's a fun fact for you guys about malaria. Did you know that the 7 dwarfs from Snow White was used to raise awareness about malaria? In 1943, a few years after the movie was released, Disney actually released this thing called the Winged Scrooge that starred the 7 dwarfs to raise awareness about malaria in the United States, because at that time, there was actually an endemic about malaria. So it goes to show you that even cartoon characters can help raise awareness about certain prevalent issues, right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next finalist is Miss Renita Ramesh, and she'll speak on the sixth sense. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Renita on stage.
Hello. Hello. Is it audible? Okay. A long time ago, in the ages of our ancestors, viruses used to live in secret. In fact, most people didn't even know about viruses at all. We used to happily infect humans and plants and animals. Oh wait, I didn't tell you my name. I'm dengue virus, and I'm off to my new home in a mosquito. You shall not pass. Well, I'm a human, a PhD student, who studies viruses like the dengue virus that infect millions of humans every single day. And humans aren't very happy about this now, are they? But the truth is this, viruses, they're just like us. They just want to have a nice, cozy home for themselves where they can have their own kids. In fact, evolution taught us all the same thing, right? In order for our species to sustain, we need to reproduce. Humans use our 5 senses to do this, as you can see right there. When you're attracted to someone, you could be attracted to the way they look, scientifically speaking. You could be attracted to the way they sound. You could even be attracted to the way they smell. Though it's weird, it's actually true. Even the sense of touch is a really important sense of attraction. So in this way, all species need to be able to sense in order to reproduce. She's absolutely right. In fact, viruses want to have our own kids too. The only difference is that we have to infect a host, and only then can we replicate. Well, yeah, I think this audience knows that a virus needs a host to replicate. But my question is this. How does a virus even know that it has entered a host? How does it sense? It doesn't have eyes and ears like we do. Does it have a sixth sense? So in my PhD, I use techniques like mass spectrometry to understand how the changes in the virus occur in terms of structure and conformation, that means shape, when it interacts with different molecules present inside the host. These molecules could be calcium, it could be magnesium, it could even be a change in temperature. For example, the dengue virus that we work on in our lab, as it moves from a mosquito, which is at a lower temperature, to a human, which is at a higher temperature, it can apparently feel this change in temperature, which causes it to expand and replicate. Some of the plant viruses that I work on can apparently taste a change in calcium concentrations, which allows it to expand and replicate. So in this way, if I can understand the biochemistry or the senses of a virus, then I can build an army of antibodies to battle them. In the end, I would love to be the bad guy of the dengue story. And to all you viruses out there, just listen to this. I don't know about you, but my sixth sense is on. Thank you.
Thank you, Renita. Judges, please take some time to fill up your score sheets. And that was a very, very entertaining and lively presentation so far. I'm sure we have even more entertaining ones up to show you guys, okay? Okay, next up, we have our next finalist, Ms. Song Ziwei, and she'll speak on the myths and science of liver regeneration. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ziwei on stage for her speech.
Test. I'm going to tell you a story from the ancient Greeks. Long, long ago, Zeus, king of the gods, punished Prometheus for giving human being fire without his permission. So he trained Prometheus to a huge rock and asked an eagle to eat his liver every single day. Well, this liver punishment could go on forever because both Zeus and the Greeks knew that liver regenerates. But they didn't know how regenerative it could be. And after thousands of years, scientists found that liver can be so regenerative that it can resume its size and mass after 70% liver removal. And this finding has led to the development of liver transplantation. The first successful human liver transplantation was performed 50 years ago in 1967, but with only 1 year post-surgery survival. Nowadays, the success rate has increased, but the chance of surviving 15 years with the regenerated liver is only 60%. Liver regeneration is so complicated, and there are so many factors involved. While my thesis is to study its biological factors and to move from myth to science of liver regeneration. Previous biological studies are using biopsies or sections, but this method doesn't have enough details, chronological details. So in order to track every single liver cell, which we call hepatocytes, we put a viewing window chamber on the mouse. It allows us to directly visualize and record the regeneration under the microscope without sacrificing the mouse. Well, that's a relief for me too, actually. And I found that hepatocytes will enlarge and migrate to close the wound, guided by both biochemical and biomechanical signals. And these two types of signals will dominate at different phases. So my study has reviewed the coordination of both chemical and mechanical factors in liver regeneration from a biological point of view. And these factors are potential therapeutic targets to promote liver regeneration. And I hope that in the future, they will help more liver transplant recipients, help them to have a shorter recovery time, a longer life after surgery, with a stronger regenerated liver. Thank you.
Thank you, Ziwei. Judges, please take some time to fill up the score sheet. And here's another fun fact about your liver. It is the only visceral organ that can regenerate itself. And it also acts like a battery, okay? It stores sugar for you, and when you need it, it will burn the sugar for you to have energy. So if you don't have your liver, we know what will happen from there. Okay, now in the meantime, like we said, we will be giving out some prizes to people who post on Instagram and Facebook with the hashtag. Okay, and we have our first two winners. Okay, so can I please invite Ms. Yuna on stage to give out the prizes? Okay, firstly, I will announce the lucky winner from Facebook. Okay. Okay, and our lucky winner is Mr. Vishnu Suresh. Are you around? All right. Come on down. Okay, so on the screen is what he has posted on Facebook. A very, very nice shot of the lecture theater here. Okay, and then from Instagram, we have this account, Aprilia_4. Can I know whose account that is? Aprilia_4. All right. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, so her post is on the screen as shown. Okay, so for others here, don't worry, we'll still be giving out more prizes later on. Okay, so once again, do remember to post on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag that is hashtag 3MTSG. Okay, and we will be scrolling through that to find more interesting posts. Okay, so with that, let us move on to our next contestant, finalist number 6, and he is Mr. Jeremy Ng, and he will be speaking on real math, the climbing the tower with a magnifying glass. So without further ado, let us welcome Jeremy.
This is a map of my presentation for today. And I'm going to tell you that my story and research begins with math problems that contain some irrelevant information. During my PhD, I've been asking myself, what makes students successful on these problems? Now you're probably looking at that question and saying, well, it's ridiculously easy, isn't it? And most importantly, you might be asking yourself, well, why should I care in the first place about these problems? Well, if you happen to have been following the news, you've probably heard about the PISA, not that tower, but PISA, the international test that ranks countries on their students' performance in the areas of mathematics, science, and reading. In the PISA math test, they so happen to have these kinds of questions. But let's put this aside, and let me tell you what some of the leading researchers, like Dr. Alan Schoenfeld from the US says. He believes that we should be exposing students to more authentic, more real math problems. He argues that we shouldn't be giving students problems that just requires them to do simple addition or subtraction. Now, you know that these questions have maybe some value, but they still look really easy, isn't it? But you'll be surprised. I've interviewed over 200 children in Singapore, and I found that a large majority of them actually make mistakes on these questions. Now, as scary as it might sound, there was also a small group of them who also were able to do these questions. So what did those students have different compared to their peers? Well, if you're familiar with the concept of working memory, it had nothing to do with this. Working memory is our ability to process and store information, and people usually locate our working memory in the prefrontal areas of the brain, which is here. So not working memory, but instead, I found that students' ability to identify irrelevant information in word problems to be the key skill that gets students to successfully do those kinds of questions. Now, you're probably asking yourself that last question, so what does it mean for me? So now that I know the kind of skills that are required to solve the question and the kind of skills that you don't need to solve these kinds of questions, if by now you're a little bit convinced that these kinds of questions are important, I want my child or my student or my future child to be able to do these kinds of questions, then fret not, you're now able to teach them yourself. You can teach them by asking them to take out their magnifying glass, a figurative one that is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. Now just please take some time to fill up your score sheets. Can I just ask here, who here likes math? Who here likes math? I see a few hands, I'm sorry. Okay, quite a few hands. Unfortunately, I don't like math. So this one is something that strikes fear in me literally since young, because I've been really, really bad at math since young, okay? Okay, next up, we have Mr. Sasi Kumar Tipla Blotla, and he'll speak on improved solar panels driven by systematic self-stress evaluation using high-energy X-rays. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kumar on stage for his speech.
Silicon wafer solar cells are very fragile and they break so easily, just like potato chips. Because they break so easily, what we do is we take a bunch of solar cells, connect them to copper wires by soldering, and then encapsulate them. That means put them between two layers of polymer and then a front glass, which is strong and thick, and hot press them so that we get a solar panel out which is strong. So where is the problem? Okay, so the problem starts now, actually, because soldering and lamination, because of the dissimilar materials which are used in these processes at high temperature, they tend to induce thermal stresses in the components, which is well-known phenomena. So because of these stresses, when these solar panels are subjected to outside environment conditions like increasing and decreasing temperature or wind loads, they tend to break. So, and then when they break, what happens? The performance of the solar cell reduces because the cracks in the solar cells, they absorb the electrons which are developed by sunlight, and then the current coming from the solar cells reduces. So how to stop this? As I was telling before, the cracks in the solar cells are driven by stress. So if we can reduce the stress, that means we can reduce the cracks. So how to reduce the stress? If we understand the stress, how it builds up, and can quantify it, then maybe it is possible to devise ways to reduce the stress. So understanding of the building of thermal stresses is key. That is my research. So how to do this? Normally, in solar cells which are laminated, it is really very difficult to get the stresses in the silicon cells, even by breaking it. So we cannot put strain gauges because the cells are not accessible, they are not outside. They're embedded between polymers. So there's only one method which is probably can do this job is high energy X-rays. When we shine a crystalline material with high energy X-rays, it gives a diffraction signals, which is called X-ray diffraction. So from that, we can calculate stresses. So I'm using this technique to evaluate the stresses in the silicon solar cells and then use this as a validation for my computer-based model to generate and predict the stresses for different kinds of design options to enable design of next generation silicon photovoltaic systems, which are very reliable. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kumar. I'll just take some time to fill up your score sheets. And speaking of solar panels, did you know that there is actually enough sunlight that falls onto Earth every hour to meet the world's demand for energy for a whole year? Okay, so if only we were able to capture all of that sunlight, we will have literally other problems to deal with instead. Okay. Now, just also a gentle reminder for audience, please do not move in and out of the lecture theatre while the presentations are ongoing so as to prevent distraction to the finalists. Okay, now moving on, our 8th finalist of the day is Mr. Muniraj Vivek Sheraton, and he'll speak on the analysis of chemotherapeutic drug efficacy in a simulated tumor environment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Vivek on stage for his speech.
I have a story to tell you today. 4 women diagnosed with breast cancer meet their clinician. Their clinician suggests them chemotherapy with the same drug for 6 months duration. All the treatment conditions are identical and all women have breast cancer on the same side of the body. However, after 6 months, they find that only 3 women have been cured of cancer, and sadly, 1 is not. Where does this discrepancy come from? On a macroscopic scale, a tumor is going to appear like the white dot shown in the mammogram in the slide. This is going to be identical for all patients, and that's what the doctor is going to see. However, in a microscopic level, you have the tumor microenvironment. Tumor microenvironment is the region surrounding the tumor which has blood cells, normal cells, and cancer cells together. It's a heterogeneous environment. It could have different pH level, it could be acidic, or even worse, it could have a single layer of cells surrounding this tumor, thereby preventing the drug diffusion and reaching the tumor. So how do we solve this problem? Experimentally, it's not possible to recreate the tumor in the lab. This is where I come in. What I do is I try to solve this problem in my computer. Yes, to solve this problem, I use 2 different models. One is cellular pots model, the other is fluid dynamics. Cellular pots model is an energy-based model which is going to predict the most favorable energy-based configuration in nature. For example, consider a raindrop falling from the sky. What's its shape going to be? It's going to be pear shape. And why? Because it's the energetically most favorable shape. I have shown you 3 different configurations here. These are of normal cells which are touching each other. Have a look at it and think for a second which of the configuration will be stable. That is, if I'm going to put this configuration in a liquid, which of the cells won't disintegrate? If you think it's the last configuration, then you're right. The reason being, the last configuration has the most contact area between the cells, which means more adhesive force, and is the stable configuration. So using cellular pots model, I will be able to predict how the tumor microenvironment is going to evolve with time. Then I have established fluid dynamics method, which will allow me to predict the drug diffusion or convection, that is the spread inside the tumor. So combining these 2, I will be able to do drug testing on my computer, and then later advise the clinician on the drug dosage and when to give it. Finally, this may not be the cure for cancer, but this is the first step in right direction for improving the anti-cancer drug efficacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. Judges, take some time to fill up your score sheets. And I believe that this is the first step to changing how cancer treatments will be like in the future. Cancer might be deadly, but soon I believe we will have enough resources to combat it eventually, okay? Promising starts for our future. Okay, our next finalist is Miss Alicia Ramos, and she'll speak on beauty and the breast. Okay, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Alicia on stage.
Testing, testing. Let me ask you all a riddle. Not everyone has me. I am gender biased. There are more than 2 billion pairs of me in this world. I nurture and I nourish, but I can also kill. Who am I? The answer is breast. Yes, breasts nurture and feed infants. But at the same time, breasts take lives of 50,000 women every year. Why should this number concern us? Well, look around you. More than half of you in this room are women. Does that leave the men aside? Not really. Even men are at risk, as every year 3,000 males are diagnosed with breast cancer. My study involves a protein called WBP2. I observe that normal breast cells have a low expression, that is, a less amount of this protein. But if the amount of WBP2 increases, then it acts on normal cells, causing them to constantly divide, migrate, invade, all of which are cancer hallmarks. So WBP2 is a breast cancer causing beast, and hence it is important to keep its expression in check. To be able to do so, we must all know the recipe of protein formation. In all your bodies, your DNA has the recipe to form proteins. This recipe is read by chefs called transcription factors, who will put together all ingredients to form RNA. This RNA is then seasoned to create the main dish, proteins. For me to control WBP2 protein expression, I must control the very first step of its formation, that is performed by the master chefs, transcription factors. I successfully identified a transcription factor that converts the WBP2 DNA to its RNA. And I realized that if I manipulate this transcription factor, I can actually control WBP2 protein expression. One of the most exciting findings of my study is that if I inhibit the transcription factor, then WBP2 does not show its cancer hallmarks. Transcription factors are a switch. They can turn this cancer protein on or off, and hence can be promising therapeutic targets. Most of us here see cancer as a hopeless end, but I hope that my research will open doors for us towards endless hope, and that breast can continue to be a giver of life rather than a taker of one.
Thank you, Alicia. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. And now that after I heard Alicia's presentation, I actually get why it's called Beauty and the Breast, or Beauty and the Beast. Okay, so breast cancer is a killer, and like the previous presentation, this will become a great discovery in the future for us to combat cancer eventually. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next contestant is Miss Shefali Banerjee, and she'll speak on fixing the leak in dengue. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Shefali on stage for her speech.
Hello. So last night, my roommate and I were scared for our lives. We had an intruder in our apartment, not a thief wielding a knife, but a tiny little mosquito. We were petrified of the bite of dengue. Over 3 billion cases of dengue are reported every single year. And if not caught in time, it can lead to 20,000 deaths, and mostly in young children between 9 to 15 years. The main reason why we are losing these young lives to dengue is because they are developing leaky blood vessels, which often go undetected until it's too late. And this is exactly where my research comes in. I'm trying to develop a strategy which will help us in early identification of this leakage and stop it in time. For this purpose, I studied the endothelial cells which form the walls of the blood vessels and found that upon dengue infection, they were producing excessive amounts of cytokines, like the blue and red blobs you see on the screen. Now, cytokines are essentially proteins, which are supposed to inform the immune system about the infection. But in such excessive quantities, they attack the endothelial cells and cause the leakage. So if we can bring down the production of cytokines, maybe we can stop the leakage. Now, one way to control protein production is through microRNAs. Now, microRNAs are the younger cousins of RNAs, which regulate RNA to protein translation. So I compared the microRNA population of the healthy and infected cells, and I found that this one particular microRNA was actually missing in the infected cells. And when I introduced this microRNA into my infected cells, it actually brought down the production of cytokines to an optimal level. And I was also amazed to see that it got rid of the virus. So I found this super microRNA which could tackle 2 major complications of dengue in one go. And in future, I hope to see if my super microRNA could not only plug the leak, but also be an early indicator of leakiness in dengue patients. And I hope that with this approach, we no longer have to fear the tiny mosquito and lose any further lives to dengue. Thank you.
Thank you, Shifali. Judges, please take some time to fill out your score sheets. You know how when we were growing up, we always debate how mosquitoes sting one person more than the other, and we always say, oh, you know, it's because of blood type, it's because of your height, etc. And funny thing enough, CNN actually reported that heat is one of the biggest draws and attractions to mosquito, particularly if you sweat a lot. So if you sweat a lot, they say mosquitoes will be attracted to you more. I don't know how true that is, but regardless of whatever that is on the internet or whatever people say, we still got to take precaution towards combating dengue, okay? I know it sucks to get stung, okay? We are halfway through the competition already, and one of the key factors about these presentations is that information is very condensed for every one of us here. So let's see how much information we can remember once all 20 contestants have presented in front of us, okay? So now we will be giving out more prizes to people who posted on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so let's give out the prize for Facebook first. And the lucky winner is Bian Xueying. Are you around? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a round of applause. Congratulations. And that is her post on Facebook. Okay, next will be from Instagram. Okay, let's hope I pronounced the account name correctly. At Mohit_Muzaffar. Ah, okay. Let's give the gentleman over there a round of applause, please. And that's his post on Instagram, very artsy. All right, congratulations. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll still be giving out more prizes. So once again, do remember to post on Facebook and Instagram with the hashtag that is hashtag 3MTSG. Okay, remember to make your profiles public as well so we can literally stalk you guys, okay? All right, our next contender for the day is Mr. Brandon Koh, and he will be speaking on a time for creativity. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Brandon.
Have you ever imagined what the future will look like 50 years from now? What will change? Will we progress? But more importantly, how can we design for a better future? In my research, I examine how thinking about the future can enhance our creativity. Now, creativity is about designing new ideas that are both useful and original. However, truly creative ideas are actually very rare. And one reason is because we tend to use our schemas when generating new ideas. Now, a schema is our stereotypical and preconceived mental model of the world. It helps us understand things rapidly in everyday situations, but has a strong negative impact on creativity. For example, if you ask participants to design a new alien for a movie character, perhaps, and you tell them that this alien has feathers, they automatically tend to think about wings, like a typical bird, and in that way, schemas constrain our originality. But how then can we alter people's preconception of the world? I discovered that when people think about the future, they automatically envision radical levels of change and progress. They see the future as radically different, and so momentarily, their mental model of the future is temporarily altered. In 3 experiments, I had participants write short essays about human life in the future or the present day. And I found that in study 1, those who wrote about the future were more creative at designing new toys. In study 2, I further found that the more change and progress they envisioned in the future, the more creative were their dining table designs. Now, this was actually a very challenging task because we have very strong schemas about dining tables. It has a flat surface, it has legs, typically symmetrical design amongst many typical features. And so this gives us a way to assess the extent that they have broken free from their schematic thinking. In the 3rd study, they thought about the future as radically different or fundamentally similar. And I found that only when they saw the future as radically different were they more creative at designing new movie characters. But more importantly, I asked for their strategy, and they're also more likely to report that they explore a new idea from scratch rather than modify an existing one, a strategy that predisposes originality. All in all, we should really encourage people to think and imagine what the future can bring, because my research shows that our hopes for the future, filled with change and progress, can not only inspire more creativity, but can prepare us to adopt an innovative posture that embraces that change. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. Now, here's an interesting quote that I found online by Albert Einstein. He said that it is a miracle that creativity survives formal education. So, I guess this is a timely reminder about how creativity can be stifled in certain situations. And of course, definitely we should encourage people to think out of the box and become more creative, right? Because on and off, we'll hear people saying that people can be very creative with certain ideas, but also can be very square when it comes to some. Okay? Next up, we will be having Mr. George Chen, and he'll speak on integrated optics for diverse applications. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome George.
Testing. It's on. Test. Okay. Testing. Test. Imagine everyone in Singapore watch high-definition video all at the same time from the same cloud server. Guess, what do you think will happen? Yes, the data center server will lag badly because they are based on electronics, and electronics is not fast enough. I am working on optical chips to replace electronics because optics is much faster. In an optical chip like this, we engineer light such as splitting light, combining light, and amplifying light. These processes are well researched in optical fiber domain and in free space domain, but they are less researched in integrated optics, whereby its components are 1,000 times smaller than the width of a human hair. Because it is so tiny, its performance is limited. Take, for example, it suffers from insufficient amplification. So, how do I improve these kinds of problems? First, I design a chip incorporating novel materials like graphene to boost its optical capabilities. Then, based on this design, I simulate and predict how light is going to behave inside the chip using well-known electromagnetic laws in physics known as Maxwell's equations. Next, I go to the clean room and make the chip. And finally, I perform testing to see if it works. And indeed, it yielded an improvement in performance. Once when problems like these are solved, then we can build a successful chip for data centers applications. But wait, is it just simply for watching videos? No. My work can also be used in non-invasive nanosurgery curing diseases. My work can also be used in environmental sensing, utilizing the superiority of accuracy in light. My work can also be used in computing, energy, and this list goes on and on. Imagination becomes reality with the work I do, and that is integrated optics. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. Now, as I was listening to the presentation, I felt a little bit scared because technology is improving so quickly. Sometimes I feel like I'm left behind and I don't know what's going on. I'm like an old soul trapped in a young body, okay? And it just scares me how fast technology is advancing. Not too sure about you guys, but that's just how I feel. I wonder if anybody has the same opinion as me. Okay, our next finalist for today is Mr. Maxim Tkachenko, and he'll speak on zooming in on differences, teaching computer to understand reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Maxim on stage for his speech.
Raise your hands if you've ever bought something online. Well, then you understand that online shopping is convenient. It allows us to buy the products from all over the world. But it has a problem. We can't feel or try the products before buying them. And it matters. So recently I bought this photo camera, but I had to ship it back because, well, image quality wasn't so great. It was a complete waste of time, and I'm still looking for the camera. Now, in online shopping, we must rely on customer reviews and product pictures that says how good the product is and guide our purchase decision. But wouldn't it be better to look at the differences of the products and pick the suitable alternatives? So 50% of online customers think so, and that's what my thesis aims to deliver. I focus on online reviews as the most influential, unbiased, and widespread source of information. I collect thousands of reviews for further analysis by a computer. I teach computer how to find and understand two important pieces of information. The first is what features of products people talk about, such as image quality. And the second, how people compare the products within the reviews, which is a comparative expressions. And these comparative expressions were overlooked in previous studies, so I designed a new statistical system that maps the sequence of words into the comparison interpretation that can be understood by a computer. Well, studying this specific language of comparisons, I reduced the computer misinterpretation rate by 50% in comparison to the standard language understanding techniques. Well, now, having understood thousands of reviews from different users of different expertise, I take an average and arrange the products on the scale for each discovered feature. So the scale represents how good the product is with respect to this feature. So now, when I want to pick a photo camera with the best image quality, I have to look at the top of the appropriate scale. And that's it, simple. Well, okay, to be fair, you're probably not interested in the product, in the image quality of the camera, but maybe insurance company or the best school to send your kids in. As long as you can find the source of reviews, fit it into the system, and it will help you to zoom into the difference of the products and make a better decision in a short time. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxim. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. I think we're all very excited because everyone does online shopping and we often get scammed. Okay, not often. Once in a while, we'll hear of scam stories or ourselves will get scammed because of reviews that seem a little bit too dubious. So this is going to be interesting moving forward. And I think everyone here is a little bit excited about it, because who doesn't like shopping, right? Online shopping for convenience especially. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, our next finalist for today is Mr. Mason Sadeghi Gugari, and he'll speak on broadcasting TV channels over cellular networks using large-scale antenna systems. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Mason on stage for his speech.
Assume you are waiting for the bus at the bus station. You are bored, so you decide to watch TV on your smartphone. Then either you use your data plan and watch TV, or if you are a student like me, you think about the cost, you say, forget about it. What if I tell you that I work on a technology that lets you watch as much TV as you want on your smartphone without any data plan? In fact, this idea, broadcasting TV channels over the mobile network, has been of interest for quite a long time, but it never became practical. So you may ask why. Consider the mobile network as a road. Then the users are like cars in this road. So if you want to broadcast TV channels, then there might be thousands of new users that they would love to watch TV. It's like adding thousands of new cars to this road. This causes traffic. In wireless communication, we call it interference, and this is the problem. So how we handle it? In current cellular networks, what we do is like this. We have a transmitter with a limited number of antennas. As you can see there, 4 antennas that serve a small number of users. The path between each user and each antenna at the transmitter is represented by a number. So when we have 4 antennas at the transmitter, we have a sequence of 4 numbers. You can consider it as a keyword. So once the data is transmitted toward the user, it will experience this keyword. What we do is that we multiply the data with the same keyword, send it to the user. The 2 passwords would match at the user, and it has the signal. But for the other users, these keywords are less likely to match. So everything is good, but there is a problem. Once you want to broadcast TV channels, then there might be thousands of users. So there is a higher chance that these keywords would match and cause a severe interference. How we handle this one? So in my PhD, we are proposing to use larger-scale antenna systems, like this one, which means that instead of using a limited number of antennas, 4 over there, we use a lot more, 400 in this case. When we use 400 antennas, then we have a keyword of length 400. So for the desired user, 400 elements would match, and we have a very strong signal at that user. For the other users, because we have a much larger keyword, there is a limited chance that the 2 keywords would match and cause a severe interference. And this is how we address the problem. Okay. So in this case, with this technology, we are able not only to serve the usual mobile subscribers of a mobile network, but also to broadcast TV channels to a large number of users. Let's go back where we started. You are at the bus station, you are bored. You want to watch TV. This time with my technology, you can watch as much as you want without any data plan, without needing to pay for it for free. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mason. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. Now, talking about large-scale antenna systems, did you know that it offers a 16-fold increase in energy efficiency? So not only is it more tech-savvy, it also saves more energy, and apparently it could potentially save up to 43,500 gigawatt hours of energy per year if this whole idea is adopted eventually. So that's quite a fair bit of energy, right, for a lot of countries that are facing an energy crunch.
Check.
Okay, our next contestant for today is Ms. Venkatraman Ananda Lakshmi, and she'll speak on Clear Vision, Better Nation. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ananda Lakshmi on stage for her speech.
It's a beautiful world we live in, a world of brilliant colors, glorious sunsets, fairy tale rainbows, pristine beaches, clear blue seas. But not all of us appreciate them. Some of us are too busy, others too preoccupied, but some, well, they just can't, because every 5 seconds, one person loses his sight. Every day, one child goes blind. The cornea is the transparent front part of the eye. Corneal dystrophy is a genetically inherited disease that affects the cornea. Mutation in the gene produces a misfolded protein that is aggregated and deposited in the cornea. And as the protein deposit builds up, the cornea becomes opaque, as you can see from the picture here. And eventually, the person loses his sight. Once a person loses his sight, the quality of life is lost. He loses his independence. Today, in the newspapers, there's an article saying that in the next 4 decades, the number of people who lose their vision will triple in number. What am I going to do? What is my role to help these people? In my PhD, I've taken a 4-way approach to tackle corneal dystrophies. The first is to screen family members of patients who might also be at risk of the disease. We developed a simple, robust genetic analysis for this. The second is to understand the disease mechanism better. I collected the affected corneas from patients when they underwent a corneal transplantation surgery. I analyzed the composition of the protein deposits and linked them back to possible disease-causing aggregation pathways. The third is the most interesting drug discovery bit. I screened about 2,500 compounds and identified 3 lead compounds that could prevent the protein aggregation and 1 compound that could disaggregate the protein deposit. The last is to develop disease models to test our lead compounds. Animal models mimicking the disease is not available right now. So we work on protein and peptide aggregation models to test our compounds. As rightly pointed out by the previous speaker, it is our experiences that give us happiness. I would say you need a good or even better eyesight to savor the experiences and have them deposited in your memory forever. So friends, colleagues, judges, please do not take your gift of sight for granted. Enjoy the beauty, cherish the smiles, be thankful, and have a vision that leads to the prosperity and progress of our nation. Majula Singapura. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananda Lakshmi. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. The last parts are very apt because National Day is coming out, right? Okay, speaking of our eyes, did you know that our eyes cannot be transplanted, unlike our livers? Okay, because there are more than 1 million nerve fibers in our eyes that are almost impossible to recreate if we have to transplant our eye. Okay, so all the more, like what our speaker said, we should always take good care of our eyesight, because once it's gone, it's almost hard to get a transplant. Okay, we are almost at the end of the competition. We just have a few more presentations to go. So before we move on, I'm going to give out some prizes again from Facebook and Instagram. And we'll do Facebook first. And our lucky winner from Facebook is by the name of Zohara Rati Zoro. All right, let's give her a round of applause. Hi, sorry, can I just ask, which university are you from?
I'm from NUS.
Anybody you're supporting in particular today?
Yes, definitely Ranita.
Okay. The dengue girl, she said. Okay, so thank you so much. Congratulations. All right, next, let's go to Instagram. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I need to get the winners to pronounce it for me. Arcadiax, Arcadiactg. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, come forward. please teach us how to pronounce this in a bit, okay? So her post is shown on the screen.
I couldn't pronounce it right because I just made it up, sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, and which university are you from?
I'm an exchange student here at NTU.
Ah, that's nice. Anybody in particular you're going to support?
No, I'm a supporter of every finalist.
Every finalist. Okay, thank you. A very good answer, okay? Okay, we'll be having a few more rounds of prizes, okay? So you still have a chance to win if you haven't won. Remember, Facebook, Instagram, make it public, make your accounts public, and remember to post with the hashtag that is hashtag 3MCSG, and who knows, you might be the next one getting some lucky prizes, okay? And now moving on, our next finalist is Miss Zheng Yue, and she'll speak on Give Your Device a Fingerprint, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Zheng Yue on stage.
Hello. Every time when you try to log into your online bank account, you have to provide your account name, your password to identify yourself. But what if the password has been stolen? Then someone else may apply the stolen password into his own device, pretend to be you to access your account, and easily steal your money. So, if the banking system can recognize whether the device is your device, then your money would be much safer. But here comes a new problem. The device you are using is actually owned by many other people. So how can the banking system distinguish your iPhone 6, for example, from other people's iPhone 6? Well, my research studying physical unclonable function is able to solve this problem. We all know that each human is unique. We have distinct fingerprint, face, iris, even between twins. So similarly, in my research, I'm trying to build so-called device fingerprint so that every electronic device is able to have such kind of distinctiveness. But how to achieve this? Here shows an example. In the bottom left corner of the slide, there is an iPhone 6 processor chip. This chip is built by around 2 billion transistors. Assuming that one type of this transistor is designed to have a same size, for example, length equals to 20 nanometer, while width equals to 45 nanometer. So ideally, this transistor in every iPhone 6 should be the same. But however, when this design is sent into manufacturing, since the manufacturing technique cannot be so accurate, so process variations will be introduced. As a result, the real size of the transistor could be slightly smaller or larger than the ideal value in a random manner. This describes the foundation of physical unclonable function. So due to the inherent process variations of the circuit, it just looks like every chip is tagged with a unique fingerprint, just like our human beings. And also, these random process variations will be somehow reflected on the chip's electrical characteristics, such as current, voltage, circuit delay, and so on. So my research is to build a PUF circuit from the chip based on the transistor variations. By applying a stimulating challenge into the circuit, a unique device fingerprint can be extracted by measuring the corresponding electrical characteristics. And the key challenge of my research is to make sure that the extracted device fingerprint to be reliable among different environmental settings. So based on this technology, the banking system now is able to recognize your iPhone 6 by identifying its own unique fingerprint. Isn't this very fun and exciting? Thank you.
Thank you, Zheng Yue. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. I think this technology is going to help a lot of us in the future who always have trouble with online stuff. The other day I was at another event, and it was a kids event, and this kid came up to me crying, saying that he misplaced 2 fidget spinners. He was bawling his eyes out, and he was saying, "Koko, Where are my fidget spinners? Can you help me find it? Can you locate it for me? Like I am now, I'm speechless. And can you imagine what will happen if something happened to his phone? If it got stolen or, his credentials got stolen online. And he was in primary 2, by the way. He was crying over fidget spinners. And he wanted me to locate it for him with some sort of magical technology that I did not have. And I was just, wow. That's all I could say. Okay, so with that, let us move on to our next finalist. We have Mr. Nihar Masuka, and he'll speak on engineering a superhero that fights cancer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Nihar on stage.
Thank you. Mic check, all right. Yeah. So guys, how many of you all enjoy watching superhero movies? Wow. So just like you all, I watch superhero movies waiting to see a normal man, usually a science geek, turn into a superhero with special powers to put an end to the world of the villains, right? But let's face it, one of the biggest evil villains of our times, cancer, is killing more than 8.2 million people in an often debilitating, dehumanizing manner. Treatment of cancer can be as deadly as a disease because cancer drugs not only target your tumors, but also your healthy cells, which is a major drawback of the currently available cancer treatment regimens. But what if I say that there's a hope, that there will be a superhero that will specifically target cancer and give a new ray of hope to people suffering from cancer? Yes, my PhD deals with a novel method of drug encapsulation and targeting using a protein called ferritin from a bacteria. Like human ferritin present in you and me, this ferritin is composed of a shell which we have engineered such that it breaks open under acidic environment. Also, we have used this ferritin shell for encapsulation of enzymes, and we intend to use this for the enzyme prodrug therapy. An enzyme prodrug therapy is an optimal solution to target toxic compounds to the specific compartments of your body, such as a tumor. It essentially has two important components. First is a drug-activating enzyme, which is of non-human origin, and second is a prodrug, which is not toxic by itself, but gets converted to toxic compounds only when it comes in contact with the enzyme. But remember, a body is like a strong Roman Empire guarded by the immune cells. So the fate of any foreign molecule that enters your body depends upon its encounter with these cells that rather destroy everything. So for its survival, we further engineered this ferritin shell, and now I'm going to call it as super ferritin, because super ferritin has a surface of human ferritin. So once inside your body, this molecule will mimic human ferritin and escape those immune cells. Also, super ferritin can distinguish cancer cells from the healthy cells and enter specifically inside cancer cells. Once inside the cancer cell where the environment is acidic, this cage will break open and release the enzyme inside it. Injection of the prodrug now would result in the formation of toxic compounds only at the site of tumor where the enzyme resides, thereby protecting your healthy cells. So like my friends Alicia and Vivek spoke about breast cancer, I hope that in future we use this therapy for treatment of cancers of the boobs and balls and all of the forms, because no one deserves cancer. So I believe that superheroes are those who use their power for the boon of the society, and I look forward to present to you all your next superhero, Ferritin. Thank you.
Thank you, Nihar. Judges, please fill up your score sheet. I realize there are a lot of presentations today are about cancer. So here's a cancer fun fact that you may or may not know. Okay, believe it or not, animals also get cancer, but out of all the animals that are present in our kingdom, there's only one animal that does not and will not get cancer, and that is the ever-famous naked mole rat. Okay? Why is that? So in 2013, it was discovered that the naked mole rat has a special type of molecule that prevents them from developing tumors. It is a thick, sugary-like substance called hyaluronan, found in the spaces between their cells. And so with this discovery, hopefully one day, we will be able to stop cancer as well. And we can become like naked mole rats, and we'll be cancer-free, literally. Okay, next up is Miss Anupama Sargo Ranganath, and she'll speak on nanofibrous Janus membrane with unidirectional flow of water. So ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together to welcome Anupama on stage for her speech.
Hello. Running is a favorite pastime in Singapore. Now, imagine yourself jogging on one of the streets. In some time, you'll start to feel sticky and slingy. And to make this worse, it starts to pour. So now it is rainy and sweaty. You can use one of those fancy raincoats which are designed to be waterproof, and those have tiny little pores to let your sweat escape. Yes, it works in the areas with very low humidity. But what about places like Singapore with such a high humidity? We know that the sweat has no place to go. So what do? Here's how we go about it. We design a membrane called Janus membrane, practically with two faces, which is made up of nanofibers. So I'm talking about fibers that is 100 times smaller than your strand of hair. So these two, as you can see, it has one which loves water called hydrophilic, another one which hates water called hydrophobic, both working together as one membrane. Now let's go for a jog again. Imagine yourself wearing a very lightweight jacket or any of your outerwears, but made up of this membrane, with the green face facing out. And now it starts to rain. So this green layer, which loves water, ends up absorbing it. And right next to this is the orange layer that hates water and prevents this rainwater from getting to your skin. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Your sweat is probably blocked by the layer that hates water. But let me tell you this. This orange layer is so thin, and the green layer that loves water is so strong, and it has such a strong magnetic force, it sucks your sweat through this orange membrane and absorbs it and locks it away from your skin, keeping it dry all the time. So this Janus membrane is extremely lightweight, highly water resistant, and most important of all, has the ability to draw away the sweat at all times. So I would like to say, as how popularly Norwegians normally say, that where there is no such bad weather, but bad clothes. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupama. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. This is the technology that I've been waiting for. Because Singapore is really humid, and my God, this is so relatable. I need this. I really do. Especially considering how often it rains as well. We can just bravely walk out into the rain from now on. Okay, we're nearing the end of today's competition. Hope you guys have, learned something. Okay, but hold on to your seats. We still have two more finalists. And our next finalist is Miss Kustini Lim, and she'll speak on what policymakers should know, the electricity CO2 water nexus. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Kustini on stage.
Test.
You all know that electricity generation impacts the environment due to a large emission of CO2 to the atmosphere that have caused climate change. But that is not the only major environmental impact that we should be concerned about. Thermoelectric power plants, particularly coal-fired and nuclear power plants, withdraw a large amount of fresh water from river or lake to create steam to spin their turbines and to cool their generators. Without the required water, these power plants may overheat or stop working. So it is essential to include water in electricity generation planning. My dissertation developed an integrated electricity generation, CO2, and water assessment framework. I employ a power sector model that simulates the electricity generation and investment in the future given the assumed electricity demand and costs, performance, regulations, and environmental constraints. This framework provides foresights to our policymakers about the consequences of their decisions and change in the policy that affect the power sector so that they can select the best, the appropriate electricity generation pathway that is also affordable and environmentally sustainable. I tested this framework in the electricity generation in Texas. The scenario analysis revealed some troubling outcomes. If Texas continue on the current path without any change in their regulations or infrastructure, the amount of water withdrawn for the power sector will increase by up to 36% over their 2012 level. This can increase further if the electricity demand increase, for example, because of electric car. So, it is if our policymakers ignore the interconnection between electricity generation, CO2, and water, before we know it, we may have too many cooling towers for power plants, but not enough cooling shower for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Judges, please fill up your score sheets. I think for policymakers, if they are able to strike a balance between these relationships, I think we'll be able to better maximize the limited resources that we have. Got to highlight the word limited because every government out there is talking about how precious resources are, but then nobody seems to be really doing much about it at the moment. So if they are able to strike a balance, I think we'll be able to survive for a longer period of time, hopefully. Okay, so with that, we have now come to our final contestant for the day, and she is Miss Amy Lim, and she will be speaking on fighting the female stereotype with the professional you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Amy on stage.
I'm a woman, and I'm told that I'm bad at maths. Being a pure science and math student, I didn't buy that. So as I sat in front of my maths paper, I thought to myself, I am going to show that girls can be good at maths. This constant thought, however, interferes with my concentration. And before I know it, my performance on the test suffered, allowing others a chance to say, I told you so. Negative stereotypes about women's quantitative abilities have been shown to decrease their quantitative performance in maths tests. Women just as clever, just as qualified, end up leaving places, particularly in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, just because of this effect. The optimistic thing is that women in these fields typically possess two identities, a gender identity and a professional identity, that is being an engineer or mathematician. So studies have shown that by reminding women of their professional identity, their performance on maths tests do not suffer. So by focusing on who women choose to be instead of their gender, it counteracts the stereotype effect. But up until now, this has been a one-size-fits-all approach. It assumes that all women react in the same way and that all will benefit from such a method. Well, if you know women, you'll find that the idea that women are identical is a hypothesis that will not hold. You see, being a woman and being a professional are completely different things. Being a woman means that you're warm. Being a professional means you're competent. Being a woman means you're bad at maths, while being a professional means you're pretty good at it. Being both at the same time, however, may not be as instinctive to some as it is to others. Depending on the degree of consensus they can come to with regards to these conflicting identities, women will differ in their reactions when reminded of their professional identity. In other words, the current approach will backfire on some women, causing them to underperform instead. My research focuses on the individual difference amongst women and is developing a harmonious relationship between their conflicting gender and professional identities can help them cope with the negative stereotype. By taking into account this individual factor, can we then more effectively help women cope and perform better in these fields? So for women, for your wives, your daughters, your sisters, we aim to work towards this. I am a woman, but I am damn good at maths. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for that very empowering speech. Judges, please take some time to fill up your score sheets. Okay, so as we all know, stereotypes are unfair, and we may not be able to, let's say, stop it completely, but we can often try to avoid creating them subconsciously, okay? As people always say, it is the attitude that matters the most. Okay, so now that we are done with today's presentations, may I invite the judges outside for deliberation of the results. And moving on, in the meantime, it is now time for the People's Choice Award voting. I need everybody to first take out your smartphones. Okay, once you have taken out your smartphones, you may either enter the link as shown on the screen or scan the QR code, which will lead you to the voting page. Once you are at that page, you may begin voting for your favorite contestant of the day. Okay, once again, you can either key in the link into your smartphone browser, or you may just directly scan the QR codes as seen on the screen. It will lead you to a page where you can then vote for your favorite contestants. The voting period is only open for 10 minutes starting now. Okay, so please vote within this time period. If you vote after 10 minutes, your vote will not count. Okay, so vote within these 10 minutes. Okay, I see everybody very excitedly staring at their screens. Once again, just scan the QR codes or enter the link into the browser, and you will be able to vote for your favorite contestants. Okay, if you need to remember who our contestants are, their faces are all on the screen to jolt your memory a little bit. Okay, remember you have 10 minutes to vote for your favorite presentation, your favorite contestants. So do so quickly, all right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't voted for your favorite contestant, you have about 2 to 3 more minutes before we officially close the voting and start tabulating the results for People's Choice Award, okay? So if you haven't voted, remember just key in the link, scan the QR code, and for your reference, our contestants are on, their faces are on the right-hand side, okay? So about 2 more minutes before we close the voting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Okay, before we announce the results for today's competition, let's give our finalists a round of applause. They did a very, very good job of condensing their research into 3 minutes. Good job, guys. Now, before the results are released, like I said, there are still some prizes up for grabs. So we still have one lucky winner from either Facebook or Instagram. Okay, can you guys make a guess where this winner comes from? Either Facebook or Instagram? Sorry? Facebook? I heard some Facebook from over there. Okay, so our lucky winner is from Facebook, and she is Yang Wen Zhuo. Are you here? Okay, let's give her a round of applause. Okay, her post is on the screen over here. Okay, so which university are you from?
I'm from NTU. Yeah.
Okay, any particular contestant you are supporting today?
Zheng Yue.
Oh, Zheng Yue. Okay, nice. Okay, thank you. All right, we still have 3 prizes with me. and we're not going to be going onto Facebook or Instagram anymore, okay? Because I cannot get over Majula Singapura in one of the speeches just now, we're going to be playing a little pop quiz, okay? National Day is coming. Got to hype up that spirit a little bit, okay? So I'm going to be asking a little trivia about Singapore, okay? If you think you know the answer, raise your hand. On a count of 3, come on down and make a guess, okay? I promise the questions are relatively simple, and maybe the Singaporeans won't even know about these facts either, okay? I have 3 questions, so if you feel like you know the answer or you're brave enough to try, raise your hand, come on forward, okay? The first question. The first question is about our well-known airport, Changi Airport. Everybody loves traveling, right? So, my question is, what is the ranking of Singapore's Changi airports in 2017? Wait. Okay? 1, 2, wait. Put your hands down first. Very excited, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the lady in red, I saw your hand first. Okay, come forward. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Okay, tell everybody your name and what university you're from.
My name is Chen Ximin from AOS.
Okay, so the question is, what is Changi Airport's ranking in 2017? And your answer is?
Number 1.
Number 1 is correct. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, congratulations. So Singapore's Changi Airport has been first for, I think, 5 consecutive years. Pretty impressive if you ask me. Okay, 1 down, 2 more to go. Next one involves a number. I'll give you a range, and then you guess, okay? Singapore is made up of 1 main island, which is the island that we are currently on. Hello? Okay, and how many surrounding islands? Okay, wait. I'll give you a range. I'm just thinking if I should make the range big or small. I'll give you a small range then. The answer, lies between 50 and 70. Okay, wait. So Singapore is made out of 1 main island and how many surrounding islands? Okay, put your hands down. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the guy over there, come down. You seem very confident. I hope you are confident. Okay, no. Okay, we'll see. Hi, sir. Nice to meet you. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Ruud Branson. I think 52.
52. That's not the correct answer. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll shorten the range a little bit. 52 to 70. Okay, the guy over there. Okay. 52 to 70. How many surrounding islands? Okay, tell everybody your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Bilal. I'm from NTU.
Okay, and you seem very confident. Okay, and your answer is?
64.
64 is not the right answer, but close enough.
62.
62 is close enough also, but not the right answer. They say 3rd time's the charm, right? So 1 more chance.
I don't know if you are including Semakau, which has been mixed with the other island. It would be 67 then. Sorry.
Okay. 67 is not the right answer also. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay. 62 is not the right answer, but close enough. 64 is not the right answer, but it's also close enough. Do I need to give any more clues? Okay. Hands down. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the lady, very, very enthusiastic. She even stood up. Okay, come. Let's see if she has the right answer. Hi, tell everybody your name and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Sureka from NTU.
Okay, your answer is?
63.
Yes, 63 is the right answer. Congratulations. Okay, fun fact, Singapore is actually made out of 1 main island, ta-da, and 63 surrounding islands. Okay, we have one more question. Trying to think of a proper way to phrase this, okay? We all love animals, or most of us at least, we love animals, okay? And my question is, what domesticated animal are owners not allowed to keep in HDB flats? Okay, wait, I'll repeat the question one more time. What domesticated animal are owners not allowed to keep in HDB flats? I think some people might be surprised with this answer. Okay, hands down, everybody, hands down, everybody. On the count of 3, hands down first. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I saw the lady over here. What domesticated animal are flat owners not allowed to keep as pets in HDBs? All right, your name and where are you from?
My name is Zhen Baihua. I'm from SMU. I'm here to support all my students. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, SMU. Okay, so what is your answer? What domesticated animal?
Cat.
That's right. Cat is the correct answer. Here you go. Now, believe it or not, cats are actually not allowed to be kept as pets in HDBs. Congratulations. Fun fact, right? Some of your neighbors might have cats, okay? But please don't report them. How many, okay? Make everybody happy. Cats are not allowed, but there is a trial going on in one of the estates that allows owners to keep cats as pets. And that is the also famous Yishun. Everything also in Yishun, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, just hold on for a bit more while we get the results, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the results are in, but, of course there must be a but, okay? Before we announce the results, we like to present a token of appreciation to our esteemed judges for taking time off your busy schedule to be here with us today. And to present the token of appreciation, I'd like to invite Mr. Fan Zhian, President of the NTU Graduate Student Council, up on stage. Mr. Fan, please. Okay, firstly, let us invite Dr. Chen Zhixiong from NUS to collect our token of appreciation. Dr. Chen, please. Thank you, Dr. Chen. Next, let us invite Dr. Kristen Sadler from NTU to collect our token of appreciation. Dr. Sadler, please. Thank you, Dr. Sadler. Next, let us invite Professor Robert Ting from SMU to collect our token of appreciation. Professor Ting, please. Thank you, Professor Ting. Next, let us invite Professor Ricky Ang from SUTD to collect our token of appreciation. Professor Ang, please. Thank you, Professor Ang. Last but not least, let us invite Dr. Tony Bouquet from Springer Nature to collect our token of appreciation. Dr. Bouquet, please. Thank you, Dr. Bouquet. Thank you, Zhian. Now, may I request Mr. Tushar Chauhan and Ms. Bargi Sharma, the directors of the NTU Graduate Student Council Academic Events Committee, which organized today's 2017 3-minute thesis Singapore competition, to please come up on stage and deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ian. We would like to thank our esteemed judges. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules and helping us select the best among the best in Singapore. Then we would like to thank Springer Nature for sponsoring the first ever Singapore 3MT competition. Then, among the organizers in NTU, we may miss out a lot of people, but the most important ones we really don't want to miss out. We want to thank Prof. Kwok Kwan Hyun, Associate Provost Student Life, and Prof. Yu Chi Yun, Associate Provost Graduate Education, for helping us out through the whole journey of 3MT. We want to thank Dr. Kirsten Sadler, Research Director, President's Office, NTU, for helping through the inception of this idea of Singapore 3MT. Ms. Tan Seok San, Director, Student Affairs Office, thank you so much for helping us even having this platform to be able to conduct this event. Dr. Peter Luker, Head of Division of Teaching, Learning and Pedagogy Division. Thank you so much, Prof. You have been there and have been an inspiration throughout. Ms. Melissa Tawin, Senior Assistant Director, TLPD, and Ms. Ellison Ng, Manager, Student Affairs Office, for making all this possible. Without them, the organization of this event today would not have been done. We want to thank Ms. Diana Kaur, Assistant Manager, Student Life, Ms. Catherine Tan, Head, Library Promotions and Senior Assistant of NTU Libraries, and Mr. Wong Vincent, Subject Librarian of NTU Libraries, who have been there throughout this journey and have made this event possible. Thank you so much.
Of course, thanks to the participants for preparing so hard and giving the judges a really hard time to decide the winners. Of course, thanks to all the members of NTU Graduate Student Council, and especially in Academic Events Committee, who've worked hard for the past 5 months to make this event a success. So thank you to everyone, guys. And of course, last but not the least, thanks to you, lovely audience, for being here. And you could have been anywhere on a Friday evening, but you chose to come down to NTU and to grace this occasion. So thank you very much. And of course, to all those who are joining us live on Facebook, we had more than 300 views, and hopefully they helped us to get the People's Choice Award as well, besides those who are sitting over here. So yeah, thank you one and all. And now we give back the stage to Ian. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tusha and Bagi. And of course, how can I forget about our finalists and our audience members? You guys were awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause for being so spontaneous. Okay, we hope that all of you have had an enjoyable time here today and learned something new, meeting each other and listening to very interesting research studies. Okay, so now is the moment that we have all been waiting for, especially for our finalists who are staring very intently at me. Okay, it is now time to announce the winners for the 2017 3-minute thesis competition. Now, to present the check to the prize winners, I'd like to invite Dr. Tony Bouquet and Ms. Tan Seok San up on stage, please. Dr. Tony and Ms. Tan, please. Okay, so the first award that we will be giving out is the People's Choice Award, and the winner will take home 300 Singapore dollars. Can I just hear who you guys think won this prize? Any answers? Okay, I hear some mumbling here and there. Okay, so let's not delay this anymore. 2017 3-minute thesis competition, the People's Choice Award goes to Zheng Yue from NTU, presenting Give Your Device a Fingerprint. Congratulations, Zheng Yue. Okay, the next award we'll be giving out is the second runner-up, and the winner walks away with 400 Singapore dollars. Any guesses who this might be? Crickets, crickets. Any guesses? Okay, let's reveal who our winner is. The second runner-up for the 2017 3-minute thesis competition goes to, drum rolls please. Can I have some drum rolls? Very good. The second runner-up is Miss Alicia Ramos, Beauty and the Breast from NUS. All right, congratulations, Alicia. Next, we will be giving out the award for the first runner-up, and the winner will walk away with 500 Singapore dollars. Okay, and our winner for the first runner-up is Miss Venkatraman Anandalakshmi, presenting Clear Vision, Better Nation from NTU. Majula Singapura. Congratulations. And now, the moment everyone is waiting for. The winner of the first ever 3-minute thesis Singapore. Now the winner walks away with 2,000 euros and the opportunity to represent Singapore at 3MT Asia Pacific in September. Okay, this one I must really ask. Who do y'all think won? Any answers? Any guesses? Okay, never mind. Which university do you think the winner came from? I hear SMU, NUS, and then suddenly I cannot hear anything because everything mashed together. Okay, let's see. The winner of the first ever 3-minute thesis Singapore, I believe I see the winner very clearly here, sitting in the the first row for a winner. The winner is Mr. Brandon Koh from SMU, presenting A Time for Creativity. Congratulations, Brendan. Thank you, Dr. Bouquet, and thank you, Ms. Tan. Okay, may I now have all the winners to come on stage for a photo, please? Could I have all 4 winners to come on stage? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them one more round of applause. Okay, could I also get now the judges to come on stage to pose for a photo with our winners? Judges, please. All right, let's give them a final round of applause. Thank you, everyone. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the first ever 3MT Singapore. We hope that you have enjoyed yourselves, and we hope to see you again next year for the second edition of 3MT Singapore. For now, may I request the university representatives, judges, finalists, and administrative staff to stay behind for a group photo. As for everyone else, please follow our ushers around who are standing around to guide you to the area outside the Lee Kong Chian Lecture Theatre function room for dinner. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ian, signing off. Thank you. Because they look like they just... Yeah, now they mingle up, so... Okay. I'll announce it in like maybe 2...